Thank you for watching my presentation on Bayesian deep graph matching for correspondence identification in collaborative perception. Correspondence identification is essential for multi-robot collaborative perception, which aims to identify the same objects in order to ensure consistent references of objects, which are observed by a group of agents in their own field of view. For example, when a collaborative robot assists a human worker who wears an AR headset to assemble a chair, they need to identify the correspondence of the chair parts in order to ensure that both the robot and the human can correctly refer to the same object. The current method for correspondence identification suffers two shortcomings. First, the previous methods are not able to quantify and reduce the correspondence uncertainty, which is caused by measurement noise or occlusion. The second shortcoming is caused by non-covisibility, which is defined as a challenge that not all objects are observed by all agents due to the occlusion and the limited field of view. To address these shortcomings, we introduce a novel approach for Bayesian deep graph matching, which integrates graph matching with Bayesian deep learning to explicitly model and quantify uncertainty in the identified object correspondences. We also introduce a new loss function that reduces correspondence uncertainty and addresses perceptual non-covisibility. Formally, we first represent each observation acquired by an agent as a graph. Nodes of the graph encode visual appearances of the detected objects in the observation, and the edges denote spatial relationship among the objects in the robot's field of view. Given this graph representation, we compute the local embedding of the objects, which capture the neighborhood visual spatial information around this object. Given the local embedding of the objects, then we calculate the similarity matrix, which encodes the similarities of pairs of objects into different observations. And given this similarity matrix, correspondence identification is formulated as a graph matching problem. In the final correspondence matrix, the element 1 denotes the correspondence, otherwise the elements equals to 0. Since uncertainty always exists in robot perception, we redesigned the deep graph matching network based on Monte Carlo dropout technique to quantify uncertainty in the identified correspondences. Specifically, we drop out partial of the parameters between each pair of layers in the graph neural network, and then rerun this process for k times to sample the distribution of network parameters. Given the distribution form parameters, we obtain the distribution form outputs, and given the probabilistic outputs, we calculate the expectation of the correspondence samples to be the final correspondence, which is visualized by the green lines. And also we calculate the channel entropy of samples to be the correspondence uncertainty, which is visualized as y's of the green lines. We also design a loss function to address non-covisibility and uncertainties in correspondence identification. First, we maximize the loss on the overall similarity, which is calculated by adding up the similarities masked by the ground truth correspondences and our identified correspondences. Second, we minimize the penalty caused by non-covisible objects, which is calculated by adding up the similarities masked by the ground truth of correspondences constructed by non-covisible objects, and also masked by our identified correspondences. The more identified correspondences of non-covisible objects, the larger the losses. Finally, we minimize the correspondence uncertainty encoded in the channel entropy. The larger the uncertainty is, the larger the losses. In the experiments, we evaluate our method in furniture assembling scenario. Since there exists a large number of non-covisible objects due to the limited field of view and the large perceptual uncertainty caused by occlusion, traditional deep learning-based methods perform badly. By addressing both challenges, our method achieved the best performance. Given the quantitative results, our method outperforms all previous methods. In addition, we observe that our flow approach generally outperforms the baseline methods, especially on the precision metrics, which indicate the benefit of addressing both perception uncertainty and the non-covisibility. Thank you for watching my presentation. If you have any questions, please contact us.